Has the main event of WrestleMania Night 1 been revealed ahead of time? Elsewhere, Trish Stratus has taken a personal shot at Bayley, and The Undertaker has revealed two names that Vince McMahon wanted to break the undefeated streak. Before Brock Lesnar, anyway. Hello everyone, Jack and Ross back again with more news. Check out the earlier news video, but now we're talking about WrestleMania Night 1. Could Night 1's main event have already been revealed? We're assuming Night 2, you can probably safely assume that's going to be Roman versus Cody.
Yep.
But a recent tweet from Sheamus has potentially revealed the final match of Night 1.
Yeah, he says St. Patrick's Day 2023, Kansas City, Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus, winner, IC title match, main event at WrestleMania 39 Day 1, next Friday, remember Murrayfield, because the rugby.
Yeah, Ireland just beat Scotland at the rugby at Murrayfield. I checked that. Unless it's a more historic reference, of course, which, I mean,
It could be.
don't know enough about it.
Drew loves history.
He does love a history, but Sheamus there, it depends. This all hinges on whether or not he is using WWE's definition of main event, which is obviously not necessarily the last match of the night, because as CM Punk famously said, they told him he was the main event of WrestleMania 29 against The Undertaker, but he said, no, it wasn't. The main event's the last match on. So which one's Sheamus saying here?
Yeah, and you know, the Rumbles in recent years, they've said, the winner goes on to main event. But Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch, for example, was in the middle of the card last year, wasn't it? So I guess they're all main event matches at WrestleMania, and this will be too.
Well, if he said that and he means the last match of Night 1, then I think it would be an interesting one. I normally would see it. Obviously, last year it was Kevin Owens and Steve Austin, which is fair enough. Yeah. But in the past, I'm sure was Bianca and Sasha, I think, the main event of Night 1.
I think so, yeah. That's a long time ago.
You'd think it would be a world title match like that one. But
to be fair, though, they've built up the IC title like a world title, with Reigns got both titles on both shows. He's not there every week. So I think the IC title has risen above the US title head and shoulders, I think, in terms of importance. And I could see it main event Night 1. No problem.
I could definitely see that match main event in Night 1, especially. Are you thinking that match is going to have some sort of draw or non-finish to get them both in the title match?
I think so, yeah. Because I think we're building towards Sheamus getting the final belt in the collection that he hasn't had in the company. And that would be a nice moment to close Night 1 on.
It would be. But yes, as Sheamus has said there, him and Drew will go one-on-one on St. Patrick's Day to determine the number one contender. Although speculation is that they'll both end up in that match against Gunther. Will it be the main event of Night 1? We'll wait and see. Another match already in the works, or I think it's been announced already basically for WrestleMania, is the 6-woman tag team match. Trish Stratus teaming with Lita and Becky Lynch against Damage Control. Bayley tweeted an image of herself and Trish in a hotel corridor after WrestleMania 35, I want to say.
The Iconics.
When she and Sasha lost the tag team titles, in that multi-team match to the Iconic. Or was it a multi-team match?
I can't remember.
I can't even remember. The one that sparked a big news story because there was reports that Bayley and Sasha were making a scene.
Satan, wasn't it?
Satan,
the devil himself.
They reported that Bayley and Sasha, once they'd lost those belts, were like crying on the floor and throwing a tantrum and everything. And it led to a big debate over the prestige of the women's tag belts and all that sort of stuff. Bayley tweeted out an image of herself and Trish in a hotel corridor after that WrestleMania, saying, "We sat in the hallway of our hotel after losing the tag titles at WrestleMania. You, Trish Stratus, talked to us until 4 a.m, sharing your secrets of the business, your personal life, your strengths and your weaknesses." I remember. I know.
Why would she share her weaknesses to a potential... the retirement match was that summer, wasn't it?
She wouldn't have known. She wouldn't have known.
Oh, my goodness. Anyway, Trish, savagely, it says here, in bold and underlined.
I thought it was weird. It's really savage.
This is what Trish replied to Bayley when she said, yeah. I remember Queen. She didn't say Queen. Well, at least you already know what it feels like to lose at #WrestleMania. Maybe you can control, but spelt like the Damage Control with the O missing and whatever. Your tears better this year.
Bloody hell.
Trish, it got proved it was a lie.
No, but Trish might be saying she cried there in the hotel corridor, which is horrible. If so, Bayley's opened up to her in this vulnerable moment, and Trish has gone, you cried back then.
It's a sign of weakness, and I think Trish is right to capitalise on it.
I mean, I think it's added a nice bit of spice to the feud.
Oh, it gets brought up on TV, with actual like a GTV style video recording of just Bayley just in tears in a hotel corridor.
Or you know what? I'm going to swap that order of the next two around, or a QTV video.
No.
Because AEW's official account tweeted this week that this week's Dynamite is set to see the first edition of QTV. They said, "It's the moment you have all been waiting for." I'd suggest they said that quite knowingly.
Yeah.
The debut of QTV TV with QT Marshall and the new TNT champion Powerhouse Hobbs is set for AEW Dynamite live from Winnipeg this Wednesday.
It's either going to be brilliant or it's going to be the worst thing ever seen on AEW. There's no middle ground there. It just seems like QTV is going to be a bit like TMZ or Miz TV, something like that with QT Marshall being the host.
We've seen this gimmick before. Randy Orton didn't he, in his early days?
RNN.
Yeah. Did Goldust? No, I made that up.
A talk show?
No, not a talk show. Sorry, I'm thinking of like a behind-the-scenes surveillance-y. Like,
the GTV?
Yeah,
Aye.
Do you think it'd be like that, or do you think it'd be a talk show segment?
I think it looks like a talk show with Powerhouse Hobbs. Hopefully this means that him and Powerhouse aren't an official like tandem, like QT being his manager.
Maybe it'll be Hobbs battering Q.
Yeah.
That'll be the way to go. That'll be the way to go.
I've used you. I've got my title. Yeah. Get out of it.
So that's the way they should go. And if there's one thing that AEW have been pretty good at in the past, it's been addressing negative criticism and righting wrongs quick.
Yeah. Nightmare Collective.
Yes.
Get it gone.
I mean, I meant more the aftermath of Brawl Out, but yeah, the Nightmare Collective as well. That as well. Equally bad thing.
Just potentially, if this doesn't work, the next week we'll see some sort of retcon and we'll just forget it ever happened.
Yeah, they're good at doing that. But is this big enough for them to pay attention, or are they? I mean, QTV's an QT Marshall's an influential figure backstage.
Yeah.
Who knows? Elsewhere, Paul White, who obviously has been absent from the ring in AEW for a while, he had knee replacement surgery, I believe, in August, has been speaking to, if I remember the podcast's name,
go on,
I'm turning the pages, Deuce and Mo. He was speaking to them and revealed that he's working his way back to action and wants to have more matches. Not only that, from this quote, it sounds like he's got like a million ideas.
Yeah, he says there are a couple of guys I want to work with. I definitely want to work with Kenny Omega at some point.
Wow.
I just can't imagine.
Straight in there.
I can't imagine what it would look like. What would it look like? I can't imagine anyway.
Kenny Omega just kneeing him multiple times and Big Show not falling down.
One-winged angel like Kenny Omega on Paul White. Anyway, Paul says, I'm totally fascinated by a lot of stuff Kenny Omega does. Kenny and I could have a great big man, little man match.
Yeah, Kenny's tiny, tiny Kenny Omega.
I have zero doubts in my mind we could rip the roof off of the building. Powerhouse. What?
I think it would be a big match.
It would again, like QTV. It could be absolutely sensational or the worst thing ever.
I'd have it in the main event of a Dynamite, definitely.
Captain Insano, that's what we want.
Yeah,
get him back. Get him against Kenny Omega. Anyway, Paul has named more potential opponents that he wants to face. He says Powerhouse Hobbs, Wardlow, even Darby Allin. Doesn't call him a little man there. I probably have to be a bad guy to compete against Darby Allin. But if I was a bad guy competing against Darby Allin, I could have the place rioting because he does such a good job with his character of selling and fighting from underneath.
Wow, I love Big Show.
Rioting for Darby Allin.
Well, yeah, Big Show's beating up little Darby. You can have the place rioting.
It's just a Darby Allin match, though. There's never been a riot before.
He's never wrestled someone as big as the Big Show. He also mentioned the prospect of teaming with Satnam Singh. Saying if I tag with him and show him how to tag team wrestle as a giant, that'll be fun. I agree. And maybe down the road split up into a feud there. The landscape is wide open to do whatever.
That has great promise. That's got me thinking of the unholy, whatever it was called, him and The Undertaker back in the day. He arrives in the WWF. Apparently The Undertaker wasn't happy with his working style and didn't think he worked like a big man should. Yeah. So they were in a tag team so The Undertaker could show him the ropes.
I hope I'm not being silly here. I'm not too spooked by this story because I like AEW sometimes when it takes a step back, when it's more of a variety show than a spot fest, and not a spot fest, but like every match has got all the drama and all the moves and everything. And you need some matches that are a novelty. And I think Big Show versus Darby or Big Show versus Kenny Omega, Paul White, excuse me. And that'll be good. I don't mind that
Forget
at all.
about that. That's the tag team.
The tag team with Satnam Singh, yeah.
They're massive.
He betrays Jarrett. Imagine Jarrett being betrayed by them two. Oh, fantastic. Elsewhere, a main roster WWE superstar has teased heading down to Cultaholic's brand of the half year last year, NXT.
Deservedly so. Cedric Alexander has tweeted, I'm free Tuesday nights, dramatic ellipsis. I've never challenged for the North American title, another dramatic ellipsis. Hey Wesley, are you feeling froggy?
Whoa!
I'm not against the idea. It'd be a good match.
I doubt he means this week because hasn't Wesley got the match with Axiom this week? I believe it was set up last week.
Because he couldn't see his face and they challenged each other last week.
Yeah,
he's doing a big like open challenge thing, John Cena-esque at the moment as Wesley. And he's taking on all comers, yeah.
He's having consistently good matches with everybody, but a couple of weeks ago there needs to be more order in NXT because the roster was tearing each other. There was a big race to the ring to get to him.
But everything's in the same universe. It's like AEW.
Yeah.
Everything, the things that happened in the brawl had consequences for other people's storyline. Happened later in the show.
All tied together.
It was all just sequential, lovely,
it's linear. Really good. And finally, the Undertaker has done a bit of a blockbusting interview with Ariel Helwani and revealed two names that Vince McMahon initially wanted to end the Undertaker's undefeated WrestleMania streak before Brock Lesnar did in 2014.
The first one, Vladimir Kozlov. Vince McMahon wanted him. It was early on, and I think he wanted Edge to go over, and Edge refused. He said, "No, I can't do it." That's how much he respected the streak and me and what the streak meant to the business. I didn't know at that time. I didn't know that until years after. That says a lot about the human being Edge is.
I love the logic of the old school wrestler. He didn't want to beat me, and that says a lot about him. What a man.
I think that's what it means, isn't it? Just he didn't want to be the one to piss in his chips.
I bet that's nice for Undertaker to discover. It's not like Edge went up to him after and was like, "I'm a really great guy. I didn't want to lose to you." He just kept it quiet. Yeah. Undertaker found it out years later and probably thought, "Oh,
that Kozlov one would have been interesting, though."
You can tell from the early stages of that feud that this is probably true because Kozlov did beat Taker, didn't he?
On SmackDown, didn't he?
Getting put over everyone. Yeah.
But we've heard names in the past like Mark Henry, who didn't get mentioned here. I think Randy Orton was mentioned.
Yeah.
At 21, was it? Just not hear those names mentioned at all maybe means it wasn't true, or maybe just Taker forgot.
Maybe he did. I've put here, being a world-class journalist, Ariel then followed up with a great question saying, because Edge is a great human being for saying no, should Brock then have said no to breaking the streak?
It's hard to say, says The Undertaker. I don't think Brock needed it. I think Brock was a major attraction. He was a star and he was made. I don't know that it enhanced him anymore. I think it would have been great for Roman if Brock hadn't already done it. It would have been a huge thing for Roman. I don't know if it meant the same to Brock as it would have meant to Roman or anybody else who would have done it, because Brock had already been there. Brock had already gone off to UFC. He already had those major accomplishments. It could have helped somebody else, and I think that's what everyone says, isn't it?
I think that's very fair. He then goes on to explain that, and I don't know if I didn't include this in our notes because I wasn't sure if this was already known or not, but Taker said that when he turned up at the venue, he was winning.
He was winning, yeah.
Yeah, is that already known?
I think so, yeah. And then Vince was just sort of like, if not Brock, who's going to do it? And that's why the decision was changed.
He did then put Roman over in the main event of WrestleMania 3 years later. He did do that, but by then, it didn't mean as much, did it? Because
he'd already lost.
Already lost.
Oh, he's gone. But it's worth watching because I had it on while doing the dishes last night, and it was a fairly good interview. He just gives his opinion on like who he thinks should beat Roman at WrestleMania. He thinks Cody should be the person, because his rationale made a little bit of sense. He was like, Sammy's great now that he has the bloodline to play off. When he doesn't have the bloodline to play off, will it be the same? And I was like, that's maybe a fair point there, Mark. Big old Mark. Mr. Calloway.
It's not real Undertaker. But then you could say that, but could you say that it would be worth the story of Sammy winning? That's a debate for another time anyway.
Maybe we should do a video on that, I don't know.
Oh, potentially. Thank you very much for watching this video. There's also some WWE 2K streams being done by Adam Pacitti. Check that out. We're not sure if it's on YouTube or Twitch yet, but youtube.com/Cultaholic/live if it's on YouTube, twitch.tv/Cultaholic if it's on Twitch.
9 p.m. GMT.
9 p.m. GMT. And he's going to be doing it for various days in a row until he finishes story mode, I think.
Career mode, yeah.
Thank you for watching this video. As I mentioned, we've got one already on the channel today as well. And leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.